Dear viewers of the Tom Photo channel, not too long ago I acquired the Fujifilm X-T3 alongside my several other Fuji cameras. In my first video, which is linked for you down below, I promised to give you updates and reviews based on what I learn about this camera as I use it more and more. Today I have something to say about it in relation to my main workhorse so far, the Fuji X-T30. Am I still happy with the X-T3? Is it as much of a step up from the X-T30 as I would have liked? It might actually be better than suggested on paper. I'll now tell you why. First off, I want to state that the X-T3 does not allow me to take better or nicer photos because the two cameras house the same sensor. The quality of my photography therefore has not changed. The photos are not larger, nor are they more image stabilized during photography. Neither camera is limiting for me. For both cameras, I'm the limiting factor. The X-T3 is noticeably larger, and therefore portability has not improved. I may be less likely to use it outside the home than the X-T30, and most exciting photo opportunities normally happen outside the home, with some notable exceptions of course. Both my X-T30 and X-T3 have a mica handlebar attached. For the X-T30, it was almost a must-have to make the camera fit my hand, but it is equally important for the X-T3 because it makes the process more enjoyable. I like to use my X-T3 mostly with the Fuji X-F55-200, and this is a large lens. The weight of the camera plus the lens is such that the handlebar is a really good idea. The camera would be too thin for me without it. One of the things I really enjoy about the X-T3 is its shutter sound. I'm probably weird for even paying attention to this. I've even made a shutter sound video, by the way. The link is below, check it out. It's not that the X-T30 had a bad sounding shutter, but the X-T3's shutter sound is one of the most pleasant and satisfying I've ever heard. It just sounds so professional and deep, yet subtle and elegant. Listen to yourself. This is the X-T30 at shutter speed 30. And this is the X-T3 at shutter speed 30. Why does shutter speed even matter? Because it's part of the reward that the camera offers. The nice photos you get is, of course, the main reward. Okay, I've been beating around the bush for a while and haven't told you the strongest feature of the X-T3. Its buttons. They are incredible in every aspect, large, to the point, correctly positioned. Photographers think about exposure triangle all the time. F-stop, shutter speed, ISO. These three determine the exposure. Look at my camera with the XF55-200 attached. Here is my f-stop, here is my shutter speed, and here is my ISO. Simply grab the button and make these relevant changes in no time. No digging in the menus and guessing what the settings are. The most relevant controls are the most easily accessible. I don't think it can get any better. While it can, I'd also like to see a large and prominent exposure compensation button. And voila, that button sits exactly where I need it to be, and it's a joy to turn. So ergonomically, this is the best camera I've seen. The X-T30 is very good too, but it has no dedicated ISO button. Instead, there is a mode button, which is not quite as relevant. The rear command dial is a mixed bag for me. It takes some effort to turn, but less effort to press. So what typically happens is that I accidentally press it when I need to turn it. Overall, this button is easier to operate on my X-T30. Anyway, this is not a real issue. I'm a fan of the 4-way pad. The X-T30 has a joystick instead of the pad. The X-T3 has both. I like this a lot. So the X-T3 has more customizable buttons. The X-T3 has a magnificent viewfinder, large and bright. It just invites you to go back to the photography style that people used before we had LCD screens. And that's a good thing. It adds stability to the camera and, at least in my case, makes my compositions better. The X-T3 can take 2 SD cards, and that is of course great. But I absolutely love that the SD card slot is not behind the same door as the battery, like it is on the X-T30. Now you can change the card when the camera is attached to a tripod, but even more importantly, you can get it out more easily. If you have large fingers, then with the X-T30 you need to remove the battery before you even get to the SD card. I must say that I'm not a fan of the X-T3 not having a flash. Yes, I own external flashes, and they are better, but I don't always have a flash with me. It might happen unexpectedly that I need a quick filler flash, and now I no longer have this option. The camera still has a flash hump though. In this case, it seems to be there purely for style. The camera is probably using this space for something important, but I don't know what it is. I like that the X-T3 and X-T30 use the same batteries. I also said this in my first video, but would like to stress it again. I only have the energy and attention for a single type of battery because I have a list of different Fuji cameras and they all use the same battery type. And I have about 10 batteries of this type. I've not said anything about video yet. Sure, the X-T3 video is much better. What I do like a lot is that the X-T3 offers 4K at 60 frames per second, as opposed to only 30 frames per second for the X-T30. Now I can slow down video even in 4K. The X-T3 also reads the sensor faster, reducing rolling shutter problems. The fact that the X-T3 does not impose the 10-minute recording limit like the X-T30 does is nice but does not concern me. I typically film short clips at a time. They also say that the X-T3 has a better face detection system that performs better in low light. It might also have faster tracking and face detection owing to its better processing power. I cannot confirm that the differences between the two cameras are very noticeable. The burst speed of the X-T3 is slightly better when using the mechanical shutter, but the same as that of the X-T30 in electronic shutter mode. The X-T3 has a larger LCD on the back. I don't consider this an advantage. However, curiously, with this larger LCD and faster processing, it also gets slightly better battery life. For those of you photographing in difficult conditions, the X-T3's weather sealing is a great feature. This is something the X-T30 is unfortunately missing. The larger size of the X-T3 allows it to accommodate more ports. It's nice that the microphone input is the typical 3.5mm one and not the small 2.5mm one that the X-T30 has, so you won't need an adapter. So the X-T3 has its pros and cons relative to the X-T30, but the majority are pros. The main difference between the two cameras is size, as far as I'm concerned. While it may seem unimportant, you will learn why it matters as you use the cameras for a long time. This is where the X-T30 will always have the edge, at least in my opinion. The same is true for price, but overall, the X-T3 is my best camera so far, Fuji or otherwise. If I could only buy one camera, it would be the X-T3. This is not considering the cameras I've never used. For example, I have a feeling that the X-T5 would be a serious contender and may well beat the X-T3, but this will be a topic for a future video. Thank you for spending some time with me. I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel and leave a like. These actions help my channel. Expect more X-T3 videos from me. I'll soon get into more detail with it. See you again soon. Goodbye.